I'd like to call the Leominster Planning Board meeting together to order for June 1st, 2020, 6:30. You please call the roll.
John Souza.
Here.
Carol Vittorioso.
Here.
Sal Ciccone. Excused. Tom Kergnan. Excused. Paul Weiser.
Here.
Patrick Perla.
Here.
Fred Fredericks.
Here.
Shall we read the COVID disclaimer?
Okay.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's
Go ahead.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the City of Leominster Planning Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible.
Okay, thank you. First hearing is the continued public hearing for definitive subdivision approval for Murray Avenue extension. Can you fill us in? That's for 1157 Greer, Main Street. Elizabeth, can you fill us in with a email you got today?
Yes, I will. Did you want to? We did get correspondence from the conservation agent, and I'm pulling it up on the display so that everyone can see it. Can you read it, or do you want me to zoom in a little more?
I can't read it.
I can't read it.
Can you just read it to us? That'll probably be easier.
Yeah.
It says, "Hi, Elizabeth. I won't be able to call in, meaning for tonight's meeting. At this time, Mary Avenue has been continued due to a disagreement from our commission's peer reviewer and the applicant's peer reviewer in regards to a wetland with a connection to a larger wetland in the back of the property. The wetland area in discussion has a connection, in my opinion, but since the peer reviewers were in disagreement, the commission and the applicant's representative agreed to schedule our peer reviewers to do a secondary review together to discuss the issues on site. Due to COVID-19, they have not been able to come together to do so at this time. The connection is a big deal as the wetland there would cause the entire project to need to be reevaluated, from my understanding. Another issue is the house at 9 Penny Lane that was engineered by Whitman and Bingham, constructed by Harbor Classic Homes, and was previously owned by James Xeris. This lot was built on a wetland without permitting and is under enforcement. The most recent agreement was that once the wetland in question was settled, the applicant would replicate the wetland that was filled elsewhere on the Mary Avenue site. It will be permitted with the current permit before us, and the retroactive notice of intent will be filed for the property. We are working with the applicant and the state. The commission would have voted on it at the last meeting had the applicant not agreed to continue the project for the peer reviewers to meet on the site. I discussed the options with the applicant's representative at the meeting as well over the phone. Also, due to the change in my commission, we have to advertise the project again as we have new members. I'm re-advertising this project and it will be on the second meeting in June, but at this time, the peer reviewers have not met on site. Respectfully, Angela Chabelsky.
Okay. So it sounds like we're to hold until we get the delineation from the Conservation Commission, because as I understand it, the wetlands would preclude the positioning of the homes as they are today.
So no need to take up this meeting. We can just move on to the next item.
Yeah, what I want to do is, do we have a representative there?
Do we have Anthony Cleves? We have a letter from the engineer, but
Okay,
I don't believe he's not signed on.
Okay.
And what does the letter say?
On behalf of our client, James Exeris, we request a continuance of the public hearing for the Mary Avenue Extension subdivision. We request the public hearing to be continued to the scheduled July Planning Board meeting on July 6th, 2020. We would also request for an additional extension of the required Planning Board action time from this hearing to the date of October 5th, 2020. Thank you, Anthony Cleaves from Whitman and Bingham.
Okay.
I
So
make a
I
motion.
think
Go ahead, John.
what I was going to say is, yeah, a motion would be in order to accept that and that date. But because it's so long between the last scheduled meeting that we've had on this, once we get a delineation from the Conservation Commission, if it's a positive one and they get an order of conditions, I would like to go back and re-advertise for the neighbors, because there will be some changes because it's been so long. So I'd like the motion would be in order to take and continue it as requested the what was July meeting?
July
July
6th. July 6th, 6:30.
And to be re-advertised.
Well, Sean, this is Carol. Can we?
Yes.
But can we do that? We should. Then we're going to have to close this hearing.
No, continue it to July. Okay. Not closing it, we continue it to July, but I'm just, as a courtesy, Carol, it's been so long, I'd like to re-advertise it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, only as a courtesy.
I made a motion to make it July 6th at 6:30.
Okay,
I'll
I
second.
have a motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second. That's Paul.
Paul, okay.
And
Any further discussion?
do we want to say at the expense of the applicant, because they've continued it for 14 months? It's not the city's doing, it's their doing.
Okay. That would require an amendment. The amendment would be to re-advertise at the expense of the applicant. That'd be an amendment. Amendment by Fred, seconded by? Have a second on the amendment.
Second.
Yes,
Pat.
by Paul.
Pat, okay.
Yes.
Any discussion on the amendment?
Nope.
Okay. Vote, roll call vote on the motion as amended.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Thomas Carignan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza,
Yes. Okay. Okay, go to the regular agenda. The next hearing at 6:45. Motion carried. Call to order.
Fred
We've
Fredericks.
done that.
Oh, we did that.
Here.
Go ahead. Yeah, do the call to order.
Fred Fredericks,
Here.
Patrick Perla,
Here.
Paul Weiser,
Here.
Thomas Carignan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yeah. Here.
John Souza,
Yeah. Okay. Minutes of previous meetings, May 5th.
I make a motion to accept them.
Motion by
Second.
Fred. Seconded by
Pat.
Paul? Or Pat? Please give your name when you second it. Now, make a motion. Any discussion, additions, or deletions?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's got to be a roll
Aye.
call vote, John.
Yeah, we can do a roll call.
You ready?
Yep.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Thomas Kerrigan, excused. Salvatore Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Plan submitted. A&R approved for 985 Pleasant Street. Map 381, parcel 11. Okay, do we have a representative there?
I believe we do.
Yes. Yes. Scott Hayes, Foresight Engineering, engineer for applicant.
Okay, Scott.
Okay,
Scott, would you like me to give you the controls of the meeting so that you can point to the documents that are relevant or point to the areas of the plan that are relevant?
Sure. I've got the plan up on my screen here. I could share that.
Okay, so I've given you control with your keyboard and mouse.
Okay, well, this is 985 Pleasant Street. It's a 3.96 acre lot, existing house, proposed to be divided into two lots. It's in the Residence A district, which is 21,780 square foot minimum and 80 feet of frontage. The division is into lot 1 and lot 2. Lot 1 is the existing dwelling, has over 200 feet of frontage, and lot 2 has just over 80 feet of frontage. And both lots are, lot 2 is over 40,000 and lot 1 is about 2 acres. So well in excess of frontage and area requirements for the district. That's the proposal. We were here a couple of months ago. We had an issue with lot width, which we corrected on this plan, and we've gone from 3 lots originally proposed to 2 lots. So if it looks familiar, we were here
Okay.
recently.
and so you'll end up with what? How much frontage?
Lot 1 is 208, I believe. Let me just 208.7, and lot 2 is 80.46 feet of frontage with a lot width of 80 feet from the frontage back to the building area.
John, this is Paul. I have a question. I can't see the numbers because they're too small in the picture, but my recollection of the issue last time was that this was very pork choppy and you were in essence just getting the frontage by taking a narrow piece of another lot and going back. It looks the same to me. What is different about this that addressed the concern from last time?
So we maintained the 80-foot frontage width back. We didn't, it was bottlenecked down to about 10-foot lot width on either side of the house before to get back to 2 lots, one on either side of the existing house. And now we've got the minimum lot frontage of 80 feet, the lot width maintained back from the street to the building site.
Yeah, I think what was the prior frontage? Was it like 10 feet, wasn't it?
No,
Well, they were at 80 feet, but the frontage is kind of dogleg back immediately to 10, and I think on one lot and 25 feet on the other to get around the existing dwelling. So instead of laying them down, we're maintaining the minimum
80 feet.
minimum frontage.
Would you
from the
like to
street.
see? Would you like to see the previous plan? I can pull it up if you want for reference.
Well, the minimum front width is 80 feet in residential A, correct?
Yes,
And then you go up to 100, where you're gonna put the house? The house will be
House
set
is
way back.
going- yeah, the house is going to be set back where the lot opens up.
Okay, you got the old drawing, Elizabeth?
Yes. What,
He's looking for it.
was it April 6th? Right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember this. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't, you didn't have the 80.
Yeah, yes, this
Okay.
is much better. This is Carol. I make a motion to endorse.
I second Fred.
Okay, I have a motion by Carol, seconded by Fred, to endorse. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Here none, I'll call for the roll.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, we're gonna go to our, okay,
It's
here,
6:45, John.
yeah, I'm getting back to my other page. Go back to my 645, continue public hearing for a special permit approval for 1121 Elm Street for the Water Supply Protection District.
And I believe we have the applicant here, Mr. William Hannigan. Let me pull up the file for this application. Okay, here we are.
I think it's the 319 one. That's the original application.
Okay. Just give me a minute to transition. It's not that. Bill, I have everything on another file. Which file do you want me to pull up?
The site plan for 319, do you want to start? We've already been through the whole review, so we can probably bring up your latest review as well as the latest site plan with the comment response letters. Or you can, if you want, I can share my screen and then I can just bring everything up.
Yeah, why don't you let him do it?
Okay, go ahead.
You have to make me the presenter. Okay. So the original plan was reviewed by the various departments. For the record, Bill Haney with Haney Engineering. The original plan was reviewed by the various departments. That review letter was sent out back in, I guess, early March, and we prepared revised plans and a comment response letter, which basically goes through all the various comments from the various departments, which I'm sure that everyone's had time to read. What it did was it resulted in this plan, which made some smaller changes to the site plan. The intent is for the construction of a garage on the property. There's an existing house with a driveway coming down the hill. And he kind of parks everything right here in this area now. And what he wanted to do was basically just build a garage back in here. The garage will not have living space in it, so it afforded the ability to go close to the property line and the typical setback line, which is the setback line here. The garage is probably, well, it's about 15 feet off of the property line. The garage would be just for that purpose. There would be a graded base driveway. The existing driveway is also graded base. During construction, we have a stockpile area back in here to allow for excavation and removal of materials. Tree clearing would be according to the limit of work. And then we would also create a dry well for discharge, for basically picking up the additional flow from the roof drains, putting that into a dry well, and then as that overflowed for extra capacity, there would be an outlet that would grade the drain basically for that piping. So the gravel driveway, we have a detail for that here. We have the roof drain dry well, along with some erosion control methods that were proposed to be around the area of construction in this area. The reason why this project is in front of the board is because it is within the watershed and requires a little bit more review than just a simple building permit plan for a garage. So the special permit was filed. Like I said, comments were received, and I can.
Oop,
Bill, I think you cut out for a second.
did I lose internet? Did Bill?
I think Bill is cut out.
This is Fred. I just got a quick question. Do we have enough to vote on this for the special permit?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
yes, unanimous. Bill, you back?
Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, so the latest department head review letter went out, and that was, we have basically met all the requirements that's required by the special permit, and I believe the recommendations enclosed therein. So we think this plan is sufficient for what we're trying to do for a small garage, and we ask for a favorable vote if it's the board's inclination.
Yeah, this is one we looked at earlier, correct?
Briefly,
You
Right.
continued it.
this is at the beginning of the whole COVID thing,
You continue it.
right?
It was continued with the beginning of COVID. We had this on the agenda in March.
Right. Okay. Good. Do I have any questions for anybody on the board?
Nope.
Do I have anybody in the audience that has any questions on this? Okay. I think we're just having a call for the vote.
Okay.
The motion would be in order to close the hearing.
First, John.
What's that?
You have to close the hearing first.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Motion is in order to close the hearing.
I make a motion to close the hearing, Fred.
Do I get a second?
Pat.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
Just to close the hearing, I think we would need a roll call.
It's a requirement that we have it.
Oh, okay.
Fred Frederick,
It was over.
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Carignan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Okay. Motion carries. 6:50. Continued open public meeting for site plan approval for 40 and 41 Summer Street. Do I have a representative there?
I believe we do.
You can open up to 651 too.
Yeah, I can do that. I can open the continued public hearing for special permit approval for use for 40 and 41 Summer Street. Okay, both hearings are open. Discussion. Do I have a representative? Elizabeth, do we have a representative for this?
I called him earlier today. I called both of them and they said they were both going to attend. Dan, a gentleman named Dan, and then the engineering firm, Graz Engineering.
Dan shows that he's here, but he's muted.
Yeah, there's a Dan here. His
Who is he?
engineer.
Right, Ben.
Dan, do you want to unmute yourself?
Oh, down here. Okay. Go ahead. You may speak.
It looks like Mr. Paul Grosowitz wants to say something, but apparently his microphone's not working. I'm guessing because I can see him trying to talk, but no sound.
It shows that he's not muted. Is he saying something?
Right here.
Paul, are you trying to say
We
something?
cannot hear you, Paul. Maybe it's volume.
Dan wrote a message saying I'm trying to speak, but I'm muted. Paul, if you can hear this, maybe you can type what you want to say in the comment box.
There should be a, do you see the mute sign? There's a little microphone. Have you click off on the mic? It says mic. It should be a green.
It shows green here.
It shows that you're green. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to turn off my phone. Okay, this is Dan. I see Paul is also there trying to probably do what I did. Paul, there's a red mute sign next to audio and computer audio. You probably just need to click on that and then it turns green. That worked for me. So Walt, Paul's trying to do that, I can give a little bit of background to where we are.
Okay.
So we presented this project previously,
Here he is.
and we'll continue to now. Sorry, Paul, do you have audio?
I think so.
Yep, there you go.
Good.
So, Paul, do you want me to let you take over from here, and I can answer any questions at the end as helpful?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Paul, I'm gonna give you the control of the mouse and the computer, okay?
Okay, thanks.
I'm making you the presenter. You should be able to control it now.
Let's see the documents.
Okay, now, can you see the plan? I've got it on a different screen over here. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, we're not seeing it. Oh, there you go.
You can see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay, good. So basically, these two properties are across the street from one another. And trying to zoom in here.
Just while you're doing that, Dan, could you say your name for the record?
Yes, Dan Botwinick.
Okay, I'm having some difficulty here. Let me
There you go.
okay, hopefully that's larger than it is on my screen because I can barely see it. So basically, we have an existing 21. It's basically a boarding house, and the proposal is to convert that to the same number of apartments. And on the opposite side of the street, I'm sorry, but I can't seem to pan on this. On the opposite side of the street, we have a three family dwelling that we want to improve, and we want to remove the garage over there and make more parking that would accommodate the not just the 3 family but also the 21 unit apartment building. So we essentially have we've got some existing parking at the boarding house, and we're adding some handicap parking, some lighting, storm drainage, chambers underground, and because of the the need or the requirements in regulations for parking, we're asking that we have 1 parking space per unit versus the typical 1.5. And as you may be able to see, hopefully, that here's where we're adding all the additional parking. We're going to be removing a garage. We're going to be paving this with storm drainage and adding all this parking. So we'll have 25 spaces for 25 units. I'm not sure how that, did I move that drawing or did you do that, Elizabeth?
I did touch it.
Okay. I guess I'm doing something right occasionally here.
Yeah, you curse. I see you curse some.
Be nice if I can zoom in. So hopefully you can see that. It looks awful small on my screen. I'm not sure why, but so we've added some tree plantings, lighting, number the parking spaces. One of the comments was to number the spaces, show dimensions. This revision, which is March 19th, basically addressed all those comments. We showed a dumpster location down here at the next to the building on number 41. There's no dumpster there now. I'm on it. Actually, I don't know what they do for trash now, but we're adding a dumpster location there. Showing snow storage, several snow storage areas. So these two properties will be, you know, and owned and managed by the same people. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, I think you guys also just improved the number 44 Summer Street also, with all of the new parking up here. We'll be connecting the parking right here so that you know, people can go either way.
Yep, that's right. We're primarily working on the mill renovation across the street at 45 Summer, but we paved the parking lot behind 40 Summer for some parking, and we also have parking down at 20 Summer Street, which I don't think we're ever going to need, but we have it anyway for additional overflow parking. So we're hoping that we can get this proposal approved to allow us to have one spot per unit for what are going to be these micro units that we're proposing to develop at 41 Summer Street.
What is it, like 1 bedroom?
They'll be, you know, somewhere between a studio efficiency and a 1 bedroom, sort of a mix depending on the what we have to work with. We're planning a historic tax credit project. So these will not be apartments that will support multiple people living in them. You know, perhaps 1 or 2 might, but for the most part, these are apartments that would really just support a single person.
Okay. Fine. Do you have anything else you wish to add? I want to open this up to the audience. Do I have anyone in the audience that has any questions?
Yes, my name is Tom Brady. I own 28 Prescott Street, and I have 4 spaces in back of the boarding house that pretty much fall in line with their 8 spaces. And so it's open to that street there. And on the other side of my building, I have a parking lot as well, but it's closed off pretty much to the street. My concern is, even now with the construction going on, is we're having a little bit of a struggle keeping people out of my parking lot on Prescott Street and Boarding House Street side. The construction people there have been very helpful, paying attention to having people move when they can, but obviously they're not there to watch my property. So my concern is we're going to minimize all these parking spaces. It's just going to be an ongoing issue for me. And I'm not quite sure what to do about it.
Is there a separation now between these parking spots?
There's a right of way, I believe, that goes behind the boarding house, and which ends up being in between 28 Prescott Street and the boarding house as backyards. But there's no physical delineation that where their parking ends and mine begins.
So I have a couple of thoughts in terms of addressing that concern. If I can answer those.
Can you say your name for the record?
Sure. This is Dan Botwinick again. So first, obviously, for now, the property at 45 Summer Street is under construction. We're underway on a major redevelopment project to renovate this 38,000 square foot mill building.
Right.
Hopefully we're about a month away from completion. So we've got a lot of construction vehicles coming in and out of the site, and obviously that's creating a lot of additional traffic. Those vehicles will be gone, and we anticipate having people move in, of course, once that's done. But certainly during the construction project, there's going to be some additional confusion and not permanent residents that know where they are supposed to park and where they're not supposed to park. But we do have 1.5 spots per unit for that project.
For 45?
For 45 summer, that's right. That's why we ended up purchasing 20 summer, which was a single family that we tore down and have paved. And we also have a lot at 40R summer, which is behind the 3 family that Paul is talking about that has the garage. We've also paved that lot. So we have significant parking in addition to what amount to 29 spots right on site for 45 summer. With 41 summer and 40 summer, we're asking for relief with parking to allow us to have simply 1 spot per unit. Again, these are tenants that they're not going to be multiple people with multiple cars in each dwelling unit. One thing that we did, because we anticipated that this would be a concern of the neighborhood, is we reached out to the building department and the Department of Public Works and asked for permission to have overflow parking be allowed along Carter Park and on Main Street. And that was approved. And so I have, I did a count of the spaces that are currently available. There are 15 public parking spaces along Carter Park and another 23 spaces right on Main Street near the project that the city's giving us permission to use as needed for overflow parking. So given the parking situation currently at 41 Summer, again, it is an existing rooming house with this existing density, but we're hoping just to improve the quality of that building and hopefully, to the extent there is any overflow parking necessary, utilize that public parking.
I wasn't aware that the parking situation at 45 was already approved. I mean, I haven't visited any place in a while because of COVID. So I wasn't aware of that.
Yep, that was approved.
I'm sorry?
45 was approved last year.
On June 18th, 2018, actually.
Oh, 18, okay.
Okay, that's my concern. I hope it works out.
Is it possible to put like a berm, a small berm or something like along the line that would delineate the parking?
Between the parking at Prescott Street and behind 41 Summer Street?
Yeah, on Prescott Street, for your parking and his parking.
Every time you speak, you need to say who you are so that the minute taker can catch the appropriate speaker.
Okay, this is John. Is it possible to put a berm, just a low one, like a speed bump or a berm, something like that, between the 2 parking spots on Prescott Street?
This is Dan Baldwinick. I'm sure it's possible. I'm not sure that would be helpful given the layout that we're planning to achieve. I would defer to Paul on that, but I'd want to go up to the site and look at it. I don't think it's going to have a major impact though on Tom's concern either way. I think what we need to do to address Tom's concern is just make sure that we do have available overflow parking and appropriate signage, and make sure that we're instructing residents where to park and making sure they also know where to tell their guests where to park, which is something that we're prepared to do and planning to do.
Okay.
I appreciate that. And can we have Tom Brady? Also, can we have Public Works look at the signage in front of my building? There is a sign there that's fairly obscure that says no parking this side of the street on the opposite side of my street. Because there's just grass there for now and some trees or something. But when my dumpster comes down Prescott Street and tries to turn into my driveway, if there are cars parked directly across from my street, my building, he can't make the turn into my driveway to empty the dumpster. But there is an existing sign, but it's pretty obscure.
All right, that would be, we can send a note off to the, or you can do that by just talking to DPW directly.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm
But
sure they can take care of that.
I would think that you would have more.
The only one who can remove the sign without it would be the city council.
And would that, as well as put a new sign, like an additional sign, that would be have to be approved by the city council?
Yes,
Tom Brady.
any no parking signs are approved by the city council. So that can be done by your city council, any one of the city council is a small petition. And they can look at it and they can either move it or relocate it or make a decision on what you want for there. So that's a city council issue.
Okay. All right, thank you. Tom Brady again.
You're welcome. Okay, do I have any other discussion? I'm not hearing any. Okay,
I don't
motion
have
would be. Fred, did you say something?
Yeah, I don't have any discussion, any questions.
Okay. A motion would be in order to close the open public meeting for site plan approval for 40 and 41 Summer Street.
I make that motion, Fred.
I'll second that. It's Paul.
Motion made by Fred, seconded by Paul. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Yep.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. For 651, continued public hearing for a special permit approval for use for 40 and 41 Summer Street.
Make a motion to close it.
I have a motion to close by Fred, seconded by
Second by Paul.
Paul. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. Continued public hearing for City Council petition 3820 Elizabeth Wood. I make a motion to waive the reading of this. We all have it. Motion in order to waive the reading.
I make a motion to make the reading.
Second, Patrick.
Motion by Paul, second Patrick. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Thomas Kerrigan, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Discussion.
I would like to recommend that the board withdraw this petition. It was actually, I recommended to the city council that they withdraw it based on feedback that was received from the conservation agent to make an amendment to this petition. and that we resubmit it or discuss resubmitting it in a later part in the agenda.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, I'll move we withdraw the petition.
No, we've got to close the hearing first. Motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing. Fred,
Second,
Motion by
Pat.
Chris. Seconded by Pat. Good. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Okay, continued open public meeting for site plan approval for 495 Main Street. Okay, we have discussion there. I saw Joel here.
And I
I don't know who his engineer is.
still
That would be me, John.
Okay. Do we have discussion on this?
Elizabeth, do you want to give me back the screen?
yeah, doing it right now.
For the record, Bill Hannigan with Hannigan Engineering. We have this project on 495 Main Street in Leominster, present home to Baker Cadillac, which has become Durand Baker GMC Buick Cadillac combination. So this portion of the project is for Durand Buick GMC. The existing property is shown here. There's an existing building where this is the showroom. We had a site plan review approval a few years back for a change to allow a service entrance here to drop off the vehicles and redo the showroom. That was all completed. What we're proposing is to add a showroom for the new GMC Buick dealership in this location here. And that's shown in this plan here, which is going to add 4 additional bays of service, along with a showroom area. On the plan, let's zoom in a little bit here. What we're doing, if you go from the existing conditions to the proposed, you can see that the parking and display spaces are kind of somewhat disjointed in this area here. So what we're doing is we are going to reconfigure the traffic through the property to allow the existing spaces would remain here. There would be an area that would be hatched, painted in this area here to allow a continuous row of traffic in this direction here, which would then be able to circle back and head in this direction. So all these spaces would be accessible from the driveway. At this point in here, it basically goes to two-way traffic. So there will be parking available in front of the building for the customers. There would also be some additional service parking and customer parking in these locations on the side here. The remaining spaces, which are more dash, those would be the display spaces for both, for all 3 brands, basically, for Cadillac, Buick, and GMC. There's some existing spaces in this area here for display along the front. Right now, if we go back to the existing conditions, there's a lot of this display area in this area here as well as this area here, so that gets shifted and moved over into the area to the adjacent parcel. So this would be the reconfiguration of the display space. So a lot of these display spaces over the last few weeks have actually kind of been starting to be laid out this way As the plan got developed, they started seeing the benefit of laying the vehicles out. So if you go out there now, many vehicles, this is an existing driveway that comes into here, are actually laid out in this fashion right now. The proposed project will be built, the building will be built in an existing area of pavement. So there's no real increase in impervious area on the property. We are providing a sloped embankment in this area, which will be gravelled into a grass in that area there. This is also where part of our overflow snow storage is. We have some calculations that are provided as part of the revised plan. There's an additional overflow snow storage in this area here, so they would have to, lose some of the vehicles in that area during the winter months. The sewage would be connected to the existing sewer line, which runs through the property. There would be a gas trap from the service bays, and then domestic sewage would come out in this area here and meet the sewer line coming in this direction and tie back into the sewer. The existing gas line comes through the parking lot in this area here. That would need to be relocated into the back is what we're proposing right now, but they may actually move this gas entry into the building to the front of the property in this area here. So this could be moved into the front instead of the back. Doesn't really affect the site planning, but just a note in case you see something else going on there. With respect to the existing water comes into the building right in here, both sprinkler and domestic, that would be fed through the existing building to feed the building with the appropriate need for domestic and fire protection. We are showing some landscaping around the building in this area here. There's very limited landscaping on the property right now, where this area might have some grass in it, but that also they might rip wrap that depending upon what we deal with conservation. One of the things we did talk to the conservation agent about is the possibility of where this is all grindings right now, grindings and gravel. We have talked to them about the possibility of instead of having the grindings and gravel over time just kind of meander down to the edge of the woods, there may be an allowance to have them pave this in the future. Nothing that would be required to do anything right now, but that provision, when we go through the review with conservation, that's in the riverfront area, so we have to deal with that as part of the improvements under the Wetlands Protection Act. The lighting for the property is not proposed to change. There's sufficient lighting off the existing pole lights or in front of the building. There'll be some service lighting around the building, just present similar to what's on the building right now. It's not anticipated that this area will need to be lit above what's being lit right now. I believe that in our last comment response letter, which resulted in the plans that you're now looking at, the comments were all addressed as part of this. I believe this has been available, I think, since the middle of March 19th. So I believe that the board probably has reviewed all of this. In our latest review from the planner, we do note some waivers that are being requested. Some of the comments, which Elizabeth and I just haven't had a chance to kind of button up some of these items, but some of the comments in here are actually addressed. Oh, this is the wrong one. This was Ed Thompson. Hold on a second. This is Ed Thompson as well. That's done. Here we go. So there's some comments in here regarding waivers. So these waivers are relative to landscaping, relative to lighting, relative to a drainage analysis, relative to architectural elevations, which we now have some 3D models on that, and also relative to a traffic impact statement. So those are the waivers that we're seeking right now. In the permitting, I can let Elizabeth go through her review, but I believe I think there's like 7 different sections within the regulations that we have to deal with some form of landscaping. And I think as you go through them, we ask for waivers for all the landscaping requirements. And I think that there was one, I think it's this 2258.5, that we don't technically ask for a landscape waiver for, but we do ask for a waiver for the landscape requirements of 62.3. So even though this section says that the landscaping must comply with section 62.3, section 62.3 is one of the waiver requests that we have in front of the board. I'll bring up that one last piece of information. Okay, so the interior part of the building is this is what we're proposing. There'd be a showroom area, manager and sales areas. There'd be a coffee station, which obviously right now we can't use. And then service station right here, there would be 4 additional bays. This would connect to the existing service bay. About the same line, there would be a difference in elevation between the two. So there would be some either some stairs or a ramp in this area for this, which is depicted on the plan. And the other thing I wanted to show was this is the proposed facade of the building. And this is a couple of different views of the building from different locations. So this is the existing bays, and there would be 4 bays would be added, and this would be the basic GMC provisional design. There's one more. You show the other direction. So this is the Cadillac dealership. Those are the service bays, which more recently approved the renovated building, and then the proposed building on the property. So it should fit well in with what's out there right now. And I think, as the dealership expands and becomes bigger, I think the improvements to the site that are being made, I think, are substantial. I think we have the construction details, et cetera. We've gone through those with DPW, et cetera. So that's really about it. We think it's a good project. We do require a permit from conservation for the work within the riverfront, which is really under redevelopment. We also require a special permit from the ZBA for an extension of a pre-existing non-conforming use. Ironically, this was a conforming use until they changed the zoning to the MU district, and at that point it became non-conforming. So that's the reason we need that special permit, and we would respectfully request that be put in as a condition versus waiting for that meeting, which is slated, I think, for the 16th of June. So if there are no questions, we look forward to your anticipated approval.
Okay. Very good. Seems like now, are you anticipating any drainage on that slope on the right there?
This right here?
Are you gonna catch the drainage off of that?
Yeah, this right now, this, to go back to the existing conditions plan.
Yeah.
Right now, what's happening is this basically comes off here and is unabated to the low point in this area here.
Right.
So what we're trying to do on this, on this plan here is we're actually adding a stone trench along the limits of the proposed pavement. We would have a stone, crushed stone apron to basically grab the water as instead of just letting it flow off the edge. It would allow the water to gather and go into the ground in this area here. And I'll zoom in to that a little bit. Okay. Provide a 3-foot wide stone apron along paved parking. Okay, so by providing that in that area, the intent is to basically grab that water before it gets a chance to go over the slope and down the area below.
Okay. And where does that water drain off? Towards the river?
It drains off towards the lower part of the site, which then eventually goes towards the river. I'll zoom back out. Because the low point is about in this area right in here.
Right, okay.
See, this is all existing gravel and grindings combination. And some pavement up in this area as well. There's some pavement up in here, but we're not making any changes down in here except in the future, if we get conservation permission to do so, we may be inclined to pave that.
Up on the top there, the parking lot you're at, are you putting that's all being, is that paved now?
It's paved now. There may be some improvements around the building for pavement, and wherever we need to cut, there would be some paved improvement. You can see right now, this is the existing edge of pavement right about in here. This is a freestanding wall. If you've been out there, that wall will be coming down. And so we will have some paving changes in this area here. We lose some pavement back in here. We gain a little back in here. So overall, we lose a little bit of pavement over in this area too. So it's kind of a blending to kind of clean up the edges of pavement.
Okay. Has it changed the flow in that area much?
No.
Or are you going to capture that with any drainage?
No, there's no drainage in the site, so we're not proposing any drainage because right now everything's flowing off right now, and we're not proposing anything because there's no real change in the watershed layout or in the impervious area.
Okay. Okay, do we have any questions? Do you have anything else, Bill?
No, not yet.
Do I have any questions from anyone in the audience? I'll ask again, do I have anyone from the audience that has any questions? How about board members?
John,
Thank you.
John, this is Carol.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great improvement, although the building's aesthetically pleasing now, but it's going to be a great improvement to that area. It's like in a prime location, and I think it's going to really enhance that part of Main Street and probably be an incentive to other businesses as well. So I think it's a great project.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Anyone else?
I second that. This is Fred.
Okay. Sounds like we got it covered. Motion would be in order to close the hearing.
I make a motion to close the hearing, Fred.
And this is Paul, second.
Seconded by,
Paul.
let's say, Carol. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. 7:10. Open public meeting for the site plan approval for 29 Middle Street. Do I have a representative from Middle Street?
We do. Brian Marsh.
Hey, Brian, but we still get the gas station up. I mean the Cadillac dealership up.
Is that, can you see the agenda now?
Okay, you're on, Brian.
All right. So Bruno Marchetti with McCarty Engineering, here tonight on behalf of Lance Delegano Integral Properties for the development here at 29 Middle Street. Lance prop, I believe in the beginning of 2000 from, it was Bob Bolio, the Bolio self-storage facility, and he bought it with to expand the self-storage. So back in fall of 2019, submitted a letter to the building department. We got our zoning denial because commercial district. Self-storage is no longer an allowed use. So we went through the zoning board process. We got our approval to expand the existing use on the property. So, that brought us here in the board. We, I believe, in March. Went to comment, submitted a revised plan back in May, and that's the plan we're here to present to you tonight. So we can look at the plan. Stephanie, am I, Elizabeth, am I able to control the plans here?
Yes.
Or do you have?
Yes, let me make you the presenter. You're the presenter now.
Okay, thank you. Let me. Trying to see what I can. Oh, there we
You
go.
have to share your screen.
I just clicked share. Can you not see that?
We can see it now.
You can. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. You can see self-storage facilities here. Property is about 1.95 acres.
I'm not seeing anything, just a blank go-to-meeting screen.
I see the go-to-meeting.
You need to share whatever document you want, not just that window.
Let me see. Try to find the.
Ryan, just minimize that screen and then pull up your documents.
I'm trying to bring my my screen with all of the.
Yeah, minimize the other one.
But can you see that now or no?
A nice looking family.
That's all you can see.
I pulled up all your documents. If you want to go back to my screen and then just take the mouse, I've got them all pulled up.
Yeah, why don't we just do that?
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
give me back the control, and then I'll make you not the presenter, but I'll make you the control of the mouse and the keyboard.
All right. I'm trying to get this over to
Right click on my name and make presenter there.
All right, sorry about that.
Okay, so now you can see all the documents pertaining to 29 Middle, and I'm going to give you the control, then you can go to the appropriate one.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. So here is the existing site. These are the two existing self-storage buildings. Pretty.
Can you make that a little bigger? Yeah.
What was that?
Bigger, zoom in.
There you go. All right. So these are the two existing self-storage buildings. One of them is 2,800 square feet. The other one's 4,500 square feet. And then this is another building on the property that is currently a office and auto body shop. So this is developed, and then this portion back here, which is just over 1/3 of an acre, They contain, it was almost like a contractor yard. It's all right now gravel. Gravel, some mix of asphalt, and there's the backside where it's anywhere from a 4-to-1 to a 2-to-1 slope. It's vegetated back to train tracks. So the proposal here is to take this area back here, which you can see there's bituminous concrete here. There is chunks of asphalt through here, but the majority of it is all just gravel. And we're going to add 3 more self-storage buildings in the back here. Let's scroll to the next drawing. You can see what we're proposing here. This is the auto body shop. So right here is access from Middle Street. So this is where the access will be maintained. These back 3 buildings. There'll be a 24-foot sliding gate here for security. The hatched darker area you can see here is all bituminous, so that'll be pavement. Building C here, the first building that you see, will have 14 10-by-20 storage bays. And then there are 8 5-by-5 storage bays on either end. This building B here, similar fashion, it's going to have 7 10-by-15 bays. And then here, this long, smaller building is going to be comprised of 22 5-by-10 bays. So they're smaller bays. This works best with the area we have. It's pretty tight. So this is really geared toward just residential users. There were some questions and comments that I'd heard from Elizabeth that the mayor had thought this was to be used by contractor only, but it's not. That's not the intent. So what we have here is it's just over 1/3 of an acre of development over on this side now. We have a dumpster pad at the end, which is going to be enclosed. This area here is outlined here. That's for stormwater. We're proposing a at-grade basin. So we're going to have all the sheet flows from this parking area, sheet flow to that area. It's going to be 3 or 4 feet deep, filled with crushed stone. Because of the location where we are behind all these residential properties, we don't have access out to Middle Street for stormwater and for piping. So there are no catch basins or structural BMPs installed here underground to discharge to the basin. All these buildings, because of the topography on site, are going to be set back into the slope. And I'll get into that in the next plan. We look at the grade. When it comes to parking, this facility has no office. We don't have employees on site in an office building. Lance currently runs the other one just himself. He takes all calls. When he has a new customer, he meets them down there and gives them a key and the code to the access gate. So that's how this is also going to be run. But we are providing 12 parking spaces. There's 11 standard spaces and 1 handicap. So landscaping wise, there was a question about whether we meet the standards bylaw. So we are providing 4 trees. It's minimal, but we're completely enclosed on this property by the 4 residential properties on Middle Street. And then to the south and west of the buildings, it's a steep slope up to the railroad. So it's pretty much confined and not visible from Middle Street at all. The preservation of trees on the site, I think, was what was specifically asked by Elizabeth. And the majority of the middle of the site where we're paving is not vegetated. It's all wide open gravel. And it used to connect through on the southern end of the site by this triangle over here to another contractor yard down off of Middle Street. So it was a drive-through where trucks and vehicles and things used to be stored and parked for that contractor. It's since been closed off and gated. And that is the plan here proposed. When we came through zoning back in December, January, we did have 3 or 4 abutters there asking questions about it. And back then it was agreed we'd have 6-foot privacy fence surrounding the entire facility. And in addition, we would, we'd have lighting and things like that, but it's all very minimal. They're all shielded. They're directly building mounted, pointing down. And Lance is there. He was available by cell phone. He gave him all his contact. Any issues, he'd be there to address it. The main concern from some of the abutters back there was right now there's nothing on the site. And oftentimes there are people ride down the train tracks and jump the fence and they go down to the property, causing whatever mayhem, hanging out, partying, doing whatever. But, the site as it is today, it's not secure. There's chain link fence around portions of it, but it's broken down. There's really no, it's not a developed site. There's nobody there. So it's kind of attractive being so hidden back behind everything for a place for people to congregate. So part of this plan, there's new buildings, new pavement, new lighting. There's going to be new security fence. It will have surveillance. He will have cameras. So it's going to be a better condition than it is today. If we look at the grading and drainage plan here now, you can see better how these buildings are set back into the slope. Building A on this end has a back wall of about 8 to 10 feet. So that back wall of the storage facility will be acting as a retaining wall. Building B, same thing up in this corner. It'll be about an 8-foot wall, then it peters down to nothing here because of the grades back there. So then you'll have a regular, 2-foot foundation exposed in the back. We are proposing a stone trench along the full back side of these buildings. The buildings will have pitched roofs to the back. Stormwater will be collected along those pitched roofs through a roof leader system underground. And at this point here, it will be below grade and discharged to this basin. So as you can see, the riprap stone here, that's our pond on site. This basin will collect stormwater. It's been oversized significantly so that even for the 100-year storm event, there's well over a foot of freeboard. We did test pits out here in these locations, and it's all sand, like really, really good sand and gravel, very porous. DPW met us out there when we were doing the test pits, and they agreed with our findings. We did submit a drainage analysis too as part of the site plan package that was reviewed, and we had no comments. So I guess looking at, here's our lighting plan. We're just showing some building mounted fixtures only. And it shows there's no light spillage at the property line. So again, maybe stormwater wise, just to expand on it, here's the basin, our infiltration basin detail. You can see that it's in total, it's only 2.5 feet deep. It's all stone. There will be fabric on it, so it's a stabilized area. Below 6 inches below and surrounding the entire thing. If there was ever a question about vehicle maneuvers and fire trucks pulling in there, again, they had no comments. They said it was accessible and they were okay with it. But even that area, as you can see here, we have 24 feet from building to back of sidewalk and plus an additional 15 feet. So there's in excess of 40 feet for vehicles to be able to turn around, emergency vehicles. To be able to pull in, turn around, and back out, either back out or turn around and drive straight out. Same thing for our dumpster here for trash trucks to be able to service the facility. So that's the gist of the project. As I said, this is meant to be an expansion of the existing self-storage facility that's out there. It is for everyone's use. Typical, smaller units don't lend well to contractor bays. It will be secure. The ZBA did want to have hours of operation. They did not want it to be able to be accessed around the clock. So Lance agreed for them to restrict the hours. I believe it was somewhere in the order of like 6 or 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the abutters who were there seemed to be on board with that. So we submitted with these plans waiver requests. There were 3 in particular that we can go over. First one was, let's see here, section 58.8 pertaining to steep slopes. We're maintaining the steep slopes that are out there. We are setting our buildings into the slope and then just reconfiguring them, but we're maintaining the same steep slopes, so we're not making them worse. 22-60.11, it's pertaining to the requirement to display use and ownership of all adjacent land within 300 feet of the boundary. We didn't have a site plan that showed 300 feet around the entire property. We did add to our existing additions plan the uses for all of the buildings that you could see within the survey. So you can see the properties here, residential, all the way through self-storage, auto body. But we didn't have any survey coverage across Middle Street and across the train tracks. So we're requesting a waiver from that. And then section 2260.1.17 pertaining to the requirement to provide architectural elevations for the new buildings. The applicant has an architect on board now. We did not at the time of the filing, so we requested a waiver from this to provide them at this time, but we will provide them to the building department prior to the building permits. So comment-wise, as I said before, we did receive comments back from all town departments. Fire, police, conservation, building, board of health, and assessors had no comments. Elizabeth had some comments that we did address, and I'm glad to go through them in detail if you'd like. I think I may have already touched on all of them during the presentation here. Let's see. So
Pull up that memo if you want.
yeah, yes, that's right. All right, here. So how do I go back to that page where I was able to pull those up?
It's zoomed way out.
Oh.
It's zoomed way in. Can you zoom out?
Yes. Yep.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you. So those are the waivers. Department head review meeting. All right, so I guess we can start here. So we received the variance from zoning. Fire and police reviewed, had no comments. So parking down below. So landscaping shall comply with the purpose and intent of the ordinance. Landscaping standards are detailed. Existing trees shall be preserved to the maximum extent practical. So that's where this site, the majority of the developed site on the bottom is all just compacted gravel. It's not developed. It was previously disturbed. And we are maintaining as much of the slope as we can after the buildings are constructed within them and the retaining walls are built. So, there are no big specimen trees throughout the middle of the site. You see how narrow the property is. So we pretty much squeezed in as much as we could and minimized on the perimeter of the site, the grading, I guess, to the train track side to the west and south as much as possible. So per section 558.8, sites will preserve sensitive land features such as steep slopes. From the proposed sites plan, it seems that a steep slope is being proposed to be disrupted and a retaining wall installed. So that was the waiver that we had requested. We're not making the site any worse or steeper than it already is. We're setting our buildings back into the slope to maintain the same steepness of those slopes and to maximize our flat area for pavement as much as possible. So section 2261.1, all property boundaries and the use ownership adjacent land shall be shown. That was the waiver that we had requested. 7, demonstrate that all easements and rights of way depicted on the site plan. So the right of way is, the only right of way out there is Middle Street. There are no easements that encumber our property. If they were there, we would have also had them on our existing condition survey from Whitman and Bingham. Number 8, snow removal and snow storage. Include provisions for snow removal. Sheet 2 of the plan indicates snow removal areas, but dimensions and square footages are not shown on the plan. They must be equal to 5% of the total gross parking and loading. So we did do the calculation. We have 12,000 square feet of pavement area on the property or on our new development area. The 5% requirement would equate to 601 square feet. We're providing 1,336 square feet in our snow storage area on our plan. So we're providing in excess of 11% on that development. So we do meet that requirement. And then number 9, provide the architectural elevations. That is the all other waiver that we are requesting. So that's how we have responded to them. Site plan must adhere to Article 9, off-street parking and loading. We do meet that. The new plan shows that we're showing 11 standard spaces and 1 handicap. We do have 1 employee. That's all there is for this facility. It's the owner himself. There is no office space associated with it. So this plan does significantly exceed what's required by zoning. So if there's any other questions beyond that, I would be happy to answer them for you.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any questions from anyone in the audience? I'll ask that another time. Do I have any questions or comments from anyone in the audience? Okay, third time. Do I have any questions from anyone in the audience about the board? Any questions or issues from the board?
No.
I have none.
Oh, looks like a good plan. Good use of a tough area.
Yeah, it is tough.
I move to close the hearing. This is Paul.
Okay, Paul, I got a motion to close the hearing. Do I have a second?
This
Second,
is Fred.
yeah.
I'll second it.
Fred seconded. Okay. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
Old business.
yeah, call order. We've done that. Minutes we did. Lance did the A&R. We're into old business.
Can you see my
Continued
screen?
definitive subdivision. Approve for Murray Avenue. This has been continued. 4.2, continue special permit approval for 1121 Elm Street for Water Supply District. Do I have a motion for this?
I'll make the
make
motion to grant this.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I'll make the motion to grant the special permit for 1121 Elm Street.
I have a motion to grant the permit for 1121 Elm Street. Do I have any further discussion? Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Fred.
With any conditions?
Well, I'm getting to that. Any discussion or conditions?
For waivers.
Are there any waivers on this?
11:21. I have to go back to my director's report. Yeah, I didn't see any waivers.
No waivers. Okay. The motion would be in order to accept the special permit for approval for 1121 Elm Street.
I think you already have that motion in second, right?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I got the motion. Okay. We're just looking for waivers. They don't have any.
So we can
Discussion?
vote.
Any other discussion? Nothing.
This is
Okay.
Fred. We have to have to make sure the conservation, they are correct with all the conservation requirements.
Okay. Well, that's contingent on all department reviews and the condition of all departments,
Right.
including the Conservation Commission. Okay,
Sounds good.
call for the vote.
Fred
Roll
Frederick,
call.
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Victorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. Continued site plan approval for 40 and 41 Summer Street. Do we have any waivers or conditions on that?
I have a lot of concern about the parking situation and that,
Yeah, they were asking for waivers on parking.
never mind for this project, but
Yeah. Well, we would have to.
project, we kind of extended ourselves quite a bit to accommodate the necessary parking spaces. You got people parking in 3 different spots for that location, and now we're gonna have people parking again across the street or in another location. I have some serious concerns about that.
Well, first we'd have to waiver. They don't meet the requirement for parking. So we can waive 1/3. Okay, which is exactly what they're asking for. So that would be a specific waiver to cut the parking by 1/3. The question I got is, it was stated, and we can ask the question, that the city council approved them parking on Main Street and at Carter Park. Was that in Carter Park or was that just on the road on Carter Park? Do we have a clarification of that?
We don't have that. That was not something that I received.
Did we receive it from the city council?
No, we did not. We didn't ask and we didn't receive. It wasn't brought to my attention until tonight.
Okay. I think we'd have to get that conditional on receipt of that vote taken by the city council. Because it seems like the city council, but that's public parking today. So I don't know how the city council can say they can allocate that parking for this project. That's a question that I have.
I didn't like the sound of that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, anybody can park there at any time, but you can't figure that into your parking calculations. Because, I mean, there are events at the park and there are people that park there all the time. You know, especially on Main Street. And Summer Street. So, but I mean, the waiver, so the discussion would have to be specifically to reduce the parking to go to 1/3. Now, initially, I don't have a problem with it because that's why I was asking. We're going from a boarding room that has little or no parking. It's significantly more parking than they had before. So I think we see an improvement there, but as long as these are studio apartments or single person apartments, indications are that we're going to just get one car per, and in some cases where they're downtown, you don't get a car. There are people that will live there and they're on transportation line like the railroad, they won't even have a car. So I don't have as much of a problem waivering that in this location. But at the same time, I still question, I'd like to see the paperwork from the city council on how they allocated space on Main Street and Carter Park.
I agree.
It's related, but it could be a individual subject, you might say.
Well, also it's a boarding house, which to me kind of insinuates that maybe there's some shared bathrooms, some shared other space inside, that they're not standalone apartments at the moment. So, I mean, I think that really changes the nature of the building itself to some degree. But
I agree.
Which probably will bring tenants that might more likely have an automobile as opposed to maybe the tenants that are there now.
Did we get a typical, well, they have studio apartment, they can't be too big. We can ask that question. Elizabeth, did we get a size on the apartments?
A size on the apartments? No, we don't have square footages of the apartments. I was just told that they were studios, efficiencies, or one bedrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how much more this, I think the condition I have here is that I want to see I tend to agree with reducing the parking, but I want to see the information that would, or what the feeling of the city council was. If we can get that, we might continue this.
I think he said it was from the DPW.
Yeah, but that's the wrong place. DPW can't allocate parking.
We were all at this, we all heard him speak. I recall him saying DPW.
Did he say DPW? Yeah, see, they can't do that. Yeah, only the city council could allocate, just like he asked me about the sign, the parking sign, the no parking sign. The city council has to, even to that parking sign, to move it, it's really, it's an ordinance in the city council.
This,
So,
this is Stephanie. He did say the building department and the DPW.
yeah. Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So that means nothing. So we're back to square one on whether we want to waive the 1.5 down to 1. Is further discussion on that? Anybody else?
Well, if we're gonna vote on this tonight, I'm gonna be a no, because it's too many questions.
I share, this is Paul, I share that concern. If parking's a problem before this starts, and now we're gonna create a situation where no one can ever have a visitor, that's a problem.
Okay. Do we want to schedule a site walk to take a look at this? To get a bit of a feeling for the site?
I don't have a problem with that.
Me either.
I don't either, but what would that tell us?
Well, I mean, we'll get a better feeling for the site and the parking and whether we want to go ahead with it or not. And what's there today and what the problems, does it improve? Does it exacerbate the problem or does it include, I know there was a lot of problems there before. If he's cleaning out some area, taking out some garages, he may in fact going to be better. He may be improving the situation.
All right.
But without looking at it, I have a problem, getting there physically looking at it, I understand it better. Versus just looking at a drawing.
Okay.
So why don't we take and
So I see you're going to probably continue this to a different meeting.
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
I think we want to continue this and then schedule a site walk.
So the next meeting, if you're going for the next meeting, that's June 15th. So you'd need a site walk before that.
Right.
Don't we have a meeting on June 6th?
No, today's June 1st.
June 6th
Yeah,
is
we have-
Saturday. June 6th is a Saturday.
I'm sorry.
June 8th?
5th.
City Council has a meeting on June 8th.
When's the next, what's the July meeting? The 5th? July 5th?
July 6th.
I think that's what Fred's talking about.
So Elizabeth, will you arrange this meeting so we don't have to waste time now? This site walk?
So are you wanting this? Are you wanting to continue this to June 15th? I know that the applicant is trying to get some kind of funding for this project, so they're in a hurry to get it processed, so they would prefer the 15th.
Okay.
I know that much. Could we do a site walk this week? Could we do? We need to post it, so we have to post it 48 hours.
Well,
in
I
advance.
mean, I can't make it this week, but next week I'd be available.
Okay.
Monday.
Do you want to do it Monday? Then?
Yeah, could we do that after the meeting since it's running late as it is and not waste time on that now? We'll find a date. You can do a doodle poll or something like that and find the time easily enough.
Okay.
Yeah. We can leave it to Elizabeth to set it up.
Good. So I move that we continue this until June 15th at what time? At 6:30?
We have a 6:30, or we have a 6:30 and we have a 6:40.
It's 6:45.
Well, the public hearing portion is closed anyhow at the moment.
Oh, correct.
Correct.
Yeah,
So we
so
can
it'll
just
just be under old
put it on the
business.
agenda.
Yeah. I move we continue until the June 15th meeting.
I second that. Patrick.
Motion made and seconded. And yeah.
I'm sorry, can I ask, so we continue, we put under our regular business, but we're gonna have a site, we're still having a site walk, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Site walk next week sometime that I'm setting up, and then having the meeting on the 15th.
Okay, but we closed the hearing and we're going to have a site walk.
Right.
Can't do that.
It's a good point.
I know what the area looks like. I'll go check it out again on my own regardless, but
If we need to vote now, I think this is going to be a problem. But if we can't take any new information in, then that's also a problem.
Yeah, I don't know how to address that.
Well,
Then I think we just have to move ahead, right?
can board members visit the site on their own accord prior to the June 15th meeting?
Hello, am I on?
You're on.
You are.
Okay.
Carol's point's an important one, right? What justification would there be to continue the?
Well, we need to
If we
find out
can't
from
do-
city council whether or not they approve the parking along Carter Park and Main Street.
Okay.
No,
And they have a
Stephanie
meeting on
said
the 8th.
no. Yeah.
Okay. Then my motion stands. Move to continue until June 15th under old business.
again,
Okay.
second, Patrick.
Motion made and seconded. To vote to continue to our next meeting. Roll call.
Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Thomas Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes,
John Souza.
Yes. Okay. Continued special permit approval for use on 40 and 41 Summer Street. This has been continued for site plan approval. We have to continue this also. Motion is in order.
Same motion.
Second, Patrick.
Motion. On a roll call. Do I have a second?
Yes. You got a
Yes.
second.
Okay, roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
yes,
John Souza.
Yes. Okay. Motion is approved to continue. 4.5, continued city council petition, 3820 Elizabeth Wood. Is this the new one, Elizabeth?
This is
No,
one
this
you
is
wanted to
old business.
withdraw.
This is the one with
We
withdrawal.
withdrew this. Okay. Thank you, Dan. We withdrew this one. Correct. Good. 4.6, continued site plan approval for 495 Main Street. And there are some waivers here.
I make a motion to accept the.
We're gonna go through the waivers first.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth, you get the list of waivers, or Bill get the list of
Yeah.
waivers?
I'm pulling it up. Can you see that?
Yep. There have been requests for a section. Landscape, I can't read it. I mean, it's off my screen. Elizabeth, can you read them?
Yes. Waiver has been requested from section 22-52.8, 22-62.3, and section 22-63.1.5 pertaining to landscaping. That's the first one. The second one is waivers have been requested from sections 22-58.6 and 22-62.2 pertaining to lighting. Then a waiver has been requested from 22-62.1 pertaining to requirement for drainage analysis. A waiver is requested from section 22.60.1.17 pertaining to the requirement of architectural elevations. And finally, a waiver is requested from section 22-63.2.3 pertaining to the requirement of a traffic impact statement.
Okay. Those are all significantly different. We'll have to take them individually. Okay, so take the first part on
landscaping.
We can take the first section on the waivers on landscaping.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
as I alluded to in my presentation, we tried to hit all the waiver requests relative to landscaping. In part of Elizabeth's review, she found a couple of other sections that were kind of mixed in with everything else because we have site plan approval requirements, we have MU1 and MU2 requirements, and we have non-residential requirements. So I request that we just get a blanket request, a blanket waiver for landscaping requirements for the project. That would allow us to do the landscaping that's on the plan, but not have to meet all the technical aspects of the various interwoven sections within the zoning that we name. We don't want to miss anything, so I don't want to be stuck with that. So we're proposing landscaping directly around the building, and that would be it. That's kind of what we're trying to get to. The other thing is we did end up getting the architect elevations, which I showed during the presentation, so we wouldn't need that particular waiver.
Okay, that's fine.
So
no, I agree. I agree to make it longer. That the first waiver should be just on landscaping per the excuse me a second. Per the drawing. So that would be the first motion.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Fred, seconded by
Pat, second.
Pat. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks.
Yes.
Patrick Perla.
Yes.
Paul Weiser.
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Okay. The next one. Can you move that down? I could. Yeah, we're getting there. Okay, on the lighting. Motions that ought to accept the waiver on the lighting as so noted.
I make that motion, Pat.
Motion by Pat, seconded by
I'll second it, Fred.
Fred. Okay, roll call.
Fred Fredericks.
Yes.
Patrick Perla.
Yes.
Paul Weiser.
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excused. Sal Ciccone, excused. Carol Vittorioso.
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Number 3, waiver has been section 2262.1 on a drainage analysis. Okay,
I make that motion to approve the waiver. Or grant the waiver.
we have motion to, this should be, yeah. I have a motion to accept the waiver on the drainage analysis. Any discussion?
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza,
Yes. We got the architectural elevation, so we don't need that. And the traffic impact statement. No, I don't think this. Motion is in order to give them the waiver on the traffic impact statement.
And make the motion, Patrick, to grant the waiver.
Second, Paul.
Motion by Patrick, seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Is there any more? Or can you move the page up?
That was it.
That was it. Okay, a motion is in order to accept the project with waivers.
I make that motion, Patrick.
I'll second again, Paul.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll call vote.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion carries. New business, site plan approval for 29 Middle Street.
Thank you.
Have good luck. Middle Street? Okay. Are there any waivers?
Yes.
Okay. You can bring it up just a little higher. I can read them. There you go. Okay. You got steep slopes. Okay. We got the three here. Well, one is on the slopes. Okay, let's take them individually. We have three waivers. Section 58.8 pertaining to steep slopes. We discussed that. They seem to be okay.
I make a motion to grant the waiver. Patrick.
What did you say, Patrick?
I'll second that.
I was making a motion to grant the waiver.
Okay, yeah, somebody walked on you at the same time. Okay, motion by Patrick, second by Fred to accept the waiver on steep slopes. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excused. Sal Chaconi, excused. Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. 22.6.1.1 pertaining to the ownership of adjacent lands within 300 feet. a boundary. We haven't required this.
I make a motion to grant that waiver. Patrick.
Patrick, motion to accept the waiver on boundaries identification.
Second,
Second.
Fred.
Fred, roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza,
Yes. 3, section 22, 6.1.1, point 17 pertaining to requirements to provide architectural elevation for newly proposed buildings. I'll waiver this, but I'd like to see these in the future.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to grant that waiver, even though I'm not sure why they need it, but I'll
Motion
make a
made.
motion to grant the waiver. Patrick.
Motion by Patrick, seconded by,
I'll second it.
okay, by Fred.
Yep.
Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza,
Yes. Motion is to accept the project site plan approval for 29 Middle Street with waivers. With the standard conditional waiver of all department heads. A condition, not a waiver. Accept approval with all department head conditions.
I'll make that motion to accept, Patrick.
I'll second that, Paul.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Here none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Roll call, rather.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso, John Souza,
Yes. Motion accepted. Site plan approval, passed. Communication, Elizabeth, Director of Planning and Development, requests a planning board review of new updated floodplain zoning language. Ms. Woodward further requests that the planning board make a recommendation for her to petition City Council regarding these new changes. What do you get for new changes here, Elizabeth?
Okay, well, last time when this came to city council, comments came in from two departments, one from the building inspector saying that everything looked great, and another comment came in from conservation agent saying it looks great, but will you please add another provision? And I put that in your packet. Let me pull it up. There's the original petition, and then the conservation agent proposed this adding of section 34.5, striking out. No, she didn't say strike out. She just wants to add section 34.5, and the city council supported that. So we had already advertised for it. We have to advertise with this amendment if we're going to, if it's going to go through.
Okay. So
we have to repetition the city council.
The motion would be to take your original petition, add the request from the Conservation Commission, and to resubmit. Is that correct?
That's part one, yeah, and then I'll tell you the second part later. But yes, she also has a recommendation for a subdivision amendment, but that's separate from this.
Oh, that would be separate. Okay. So, yeah, this pretty much, this all goes on the conservation and the DPW anyway. So whatever their recommendations are there, that's their ball of wax. So I'm not, you know, work with them. That's what I feel. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. Do I have a motion? I entertain one.
I make a motion to move forward with that plan. I'm not sure how else to word it.
Okay, Pat, with my recommended motion. Motion by Pat, seconded by,
I'll second it.
What is the motion exactly?
the motion was to take an original motion and to add a new paragraph as recommended by the Conservation Commission.
And
Okay.
make a petition to the city council.
And
Okay.
put it to the city council. Okay? That clear for you?
Yep.
Good. I have a motion made in second. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Carrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso.
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Okay, let me put my glasses on here. Manusmark Avenue. Correspondence received regarding proposal from Verizon Wireless to install a 110-foot monopole. Well, they've got to come in with a plan. What do you got on this?
They have a letter. They've addressed it to me. Do you want me to read it, or do you,
Yeah, sure.
Dear Ms. Wood, pursuant to Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act, the regulations promulgated thereunder and interagency agreements developed thereto, EBI Consulting Incorporated, on behalf of Selco Partnership and its controlled affiliates doing business as Verizon Wireless, provides this notice of a proposed telecommunications facility installation at the address listed above. And that's the 40 Manusnock Avenue address. EBI would like to inquire if you would be interested in commenting on this proposed project. Verizon Wireless proposes to install a 110-foot monopole. Please refer to the attached project plans for additional details regarding this proposed project. Please note that we are requesting a review of the attached information as part of Section 106 process only, and not as part of the local zoning process. We're only seeking comments related to the proposed project's potential effect to historic properties. Please submit your comments regarding the proposed project's potential effect on historic properties to EBI Consulting to my attention, and then they give an address, or contact me via telephone number listed below. We would appreciate your comments as soon as possible within the next 30 days. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any questions or concerns about the proposed project. Respectfully submitted, Kate Ritter. And then they have the a map of the project site. Impact on historic properties is what they're wondering.
Well, the historic property is Manusnock. As the golf course was, where are they proposing to put the tower?
This is what they provided.
They show the proposed location.
Very vaguely.
That? Yeah, I'd be, I know there's been discussion with this, and the golf course would love it. Do they show? I don't have all depends where they put it. Okay, if they put it way over on the other side, on the far side where the driving range was.
So here's the country club is outlined here.
The only thing is, Manusnock is registered as a old golf course because 1909 is when it started. So That's probably why. That's the problem. I guess that's the historic. All depends on the location and how it works with our zoning. Do we want to schedule a meeting with them to go out there and look at a sidewalk?
If my memory is served, it really doesn't matter what we say in this thing, right? That they have federal
No.
rules on their side.
The
Paul,
Federal Telecommunications Act is what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
yes. If we do this right, we can ask, if we do it up front, we can ask for independent. If we don't like their site, if we do it up front, we can ask for an independent review, and they
Yeah.
have to pay for that, okay?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of information that we can ask for up front. If we don't do that up front, then we're caught. So that's why on that type of stuff, you just can't, you have to play the game, okay? And make sure we ask, because we can ask for an independent review of a second company. But I gotta know more about what they're looking for, because they're saying historic site. Well, is it, I'm surmising that it's Stock and the golf course. Okay, well, I've had golf course members approach me on this. Mention it. I'll talk about it. They haven't really approached me. Say, hey, there's a possibility. What do you guys think? Get me the information. That's all I say. So that's what I'm saying today. Get me the information. So the first step would say, okay, let's meet with them and find out what they have. And then we can, from there, we can make a discussion. It looks, what we got now is for me to, I would say I tend to agree, but I don't have enough information to agree. Okay?
So you're
Just to
asking that we attend a meeting?
Yeah, have them either come to us.
This is, the other thing we have to determine is whether or not there's another alternate site that can meet their needs. I'm not saying that perfectly by the ordinance, but that's what, we have to make sure there's not another alternate feasible site for them.
That is correct. But we can't do that until they actually apply. Okay? Once they apply, then we can go after and say, okay, because they've got to pay for it. If we would do it now, we would have to pay for it. And I don't want to do that. So let's get them to come in, give us some more information, and then if they think if we could give them a preliminary, yeah, sounds good. And then we go forward from there. Or we can say, no, there's a problem with that. But with the information I got now, I don't have enough information to make a recommendation.
How about we schedule it for July 6th at 6:40?
It sounds good to me.
Okay.
Does that work, Elizabeth?
It works.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a motion by Fred to schedule this for July 6th.
It's not an application, but you just.
It's a general information. The heading, it's a general information meeting.
A general information meeting, okay.
Okay? It has nothing, has no plans, has nothing. It's general information. Okay?
Sounds good.
Fred, do I have a second on that?
Paul seconded.
Well, okay.
Sure.
Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan. Excuse. Sal Ciccone, excuse. Carol Vittorioso.
I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me. So what is this on for tonight? Remind me.
Stock, the Verizon is thinking about putting a cell tower on someplace on Stock's property. They're coming to us because of the antiquities rules. So I want to find out exactly what they're fighting about before we make any decisions.
Basically they're considering putting a tower there and they haven't filed anything yet.
That is correct. So all this is an open meeting, general information.
This was just communication.
All right, and we're continuing this to when?
That's our next meeting.
What are we voting on to?
Just continue to schedule for the next meeting.
July 6th.
July 6th meeting.
Have them come in and make a presentation.
Well, they can't. I mean, why aren't they just submitting their site plan?
Because they're coming in under some kinds of rules on old evidently Stock. My guess is Stock comes under some kind of a
Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation.
Okay.
Stock and historic
All right,
building.
so we're scheduled back under communications.
Right.
Okay. That's okay, because I want to make sure everyone's on the same page here, that we're not, other people are paying for them. Other people are paying for their petitions, so they're looking. I want to make sure that we're not in a situation where we're giving our advice because they're hedging bets, and then they're going to apply for something before they've paid for their application. That's my point.
Right. No, this is strictly an open meeting. No advertisement, no nothing. It's just
the more I think about it, Carol's point's a good one. Right?
Come in with some information.
But they haven't submitted anything yet. This is just communication saying they're thinking about doing that. When they submit a plan, why wouldn't we wait for them to submit the plan and then say, okay, now we want you to do this independent analysis?
Yeah. They're looking for information on the historic preservation. They probably should be requesting it from the Historic Commission. And maybe we'll refer them to the Historic Commission, let them do something. But I don't have enough information. We don't know what to think about the
historic. I mean, that's not our thing. I mean, I don't know what's.
I agree with you, Carol. I don't have enough information from what they requested, so I can't make a judgment. So have them come in, make a presentation.
The Historical Society. Frankly, what I think they're doing is they know our history with our last project, which frankly I still don't think we're wrong about, and they don't want the delay like the last project had the delay over at wherever it is off of Litchfield Street. And so they're basically hedging in my opinion, they're hedging their bets. So I think they should find out if they fall into that. I mean, frankly, I've never heard of that, the National Historic Preservation Act. They should go to whatever jurisdiction has that, determine if they fall under that, determine if they can put in a pole in that area, and if they can, then they come before us with a site plan under our ordinance.
I don't know. Do we have any?
I'm inclined to concur with Carol in regards to the fact that why are we scheduling something if they haven't applied for anything yet?
Yeah.
I'll take back my suggestion.
And I'll take back the motion. Let's just leave it as it is.
Okay, well, let's do it this way. Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Why don't you contact them, say we need more information. What you submitted to us was insufficient. And we'll keep it on the communications at that point. And maybe you do touch, and at the same time, check with the, see if there's anything in an ordinance that the historic commission might be involved with. This might be their bailiwick.
This is the federal National Historic Preservation Act.
Yeah, but they deal with that stuff. Anyhow, you know, believe it or not, it's old houses, there's certain ages that have to be approved before you tear them down, have to be approved by the historic commission. There's a waiting period in there.
Okay.
So they do have some regulations in a few finite places. But I'm not familiar with it, so we can set up a meeting, get some more information and see where it takes us. But I don't want to, you know. Okay, we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
6.3, appointment of representative to MRPC. Appointment will begin July 1st. I thought we had an appointment to this.
It's come up again. It comes up every year.
Oh, okay. Didn't we? Okay. Who's that representative now?
Tom.
I nominate Tom for another tour of duty for the current fiscal year.
I'll second that.
Do I have a motion on that? Do I have a second?
Fred said. I said second.
Yeah, I get a second on that. Okay. I have a motion to nominate Tom for the MRPC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Frederick.
Aye. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Patrick Perla.
Yes.
Paul Weiser.
Yes.
Tom Kergnen, excuse. Satcha Cooney, excuse. Carol Vittorioso.
I say no for my friend Tom.
John
I'll say yes.
Okay.
Director's report.
Okay. Real quickly, the board has worked on a project before in regards to Ava Way, and it's come from the city council that they want to release the bond to the city, and then have the city finish off the work and then have the street accepted. So I don't know if the board needs to make a formal motion or if we need to put it on an agenda and have it be a formal process that the board votes to put the project out for bid. I don't know that this has been done before, but I'm thinking that it might be good to formalize it.
Yeah, yes, we have. We did this on the other end of Mary Avenue. Back, I don't know, 10 years ago?
Okay.
It's been a while. Okay. Where the contractor didn't finish it, and we had a bond.
Yeah.
At that point, we went to the DPW, okay, and requested them to go out for bids. Well, first to come up with a complete list of what had to be done.
Yeah, we did that.
Asphalt drive and sidewalks and whatever that. Okay, and we've got that. The second step was to go out to the DPW to actually go out for bids.
Yep, and they do that in August.
Okay. Well, whatever they can go out for bids. No, you go for whenever they go out for bids, because we got to find out once we get the bid to see if the bid is enough to do the job. If we have enough money, how much money do we have in the bond?
About 10,000.
Okay.
We got an estimate.
We have an estimate?
We have an estimate, and it was just under $10,000, but we haven't put it for bid.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to go for bid. Once we get the bid, then once we get the bid, then they release. Okay, we take we have to vote. Okay, to take the money We have to notify them. Okay, it has to come up on the agenda. And then we have to notify them that we're taking the bond and to complete the work. We have the meeting, we vote on it. Then we release the money to the treasurer, okay, to take for the to the DPW account, so they can manage the work to get it done. Any money that's left, let's say we got $10,000 and the project is done for $9 million, the $1,000 goes back to the developer. Okay, that's the basic outline. So if we got the estimate, they can go out for bids. Whenever they go out for bids, get the work done, they go out to bids. Once they get the bids, then we can vote to release the money to the treasurer, to the DPW to complete the project.
Okay, I'm being told that's August,
Okay,
unless they do it a special one for this.
that's up to them. That's up to the DPW. And once it's approved, then once everything is done, then say everything is done, we get the approval from the DPW. We then recommend approval to the city council. Okay?
Okay,
But the city council doesn't get involved until everything is done, the drawings are done, and the as-built are done, and the deeds are all done. So it's the whole package.
all right,
Okay?
good. That's all I had.
That's all.
That's
Well,
all.
everybody,
Nothing else.
we have any other comments? Who's out tonight?
He said
Make
he
a
was
motion.
coming.
Don't we have to discuss the summer meeting?
Oh, summer meeting. Oh, yeah, I jumped ahead. Sorry about that.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, that's what we typically have.
Yep, fine by me.
Same
June
here.
15th and July 6th and August 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to close the meeting?
No, you gotta vote on the summer schedule. I have a motion and a second on the summer schedule. Roll call.
Fred Fredericks,
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes. Motion is in order.
Make a motion to close the meeting.
Have a motion made. Do I have a second? Second to adjourn. All in favor?
Fred
Roll call.
Fredericks,
Fred, the term is adjourned.
Yes.
Patrick Perla,
Yes.
Paul Weiser,
Yes.
Tom Kerrigan, excuse, Sal Chaconi, excuse, Carol Vittorioso,
Yes.
John Souza.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.